Before the initial release of Howl's Moving Castle, 20 years ago, Akihiko Yamashita spent nearly 2 years working as the supervising animator on the Studio Ghibli film. I really have no idea how many pages of drawings there were or how many cells we drew. I just know that we worked a huge amount and we drew a huge amount, Yamashita tells Variety through an interpreter. Nowadays, we talk about work-life balance, but in those days, there was no concept of that. Yamashita first worked with animation maestro Hayao Miyazaki as a key animator on 2001's Spirited Away. Over the past 20-plus years, he has served various roles on Studio Ghibli films, including as an assistant supervising animator on Ponyo, 2008, and a key animator on The Wind Rises, 2013, and The Boy and the Heron, 2023. Yamashita recalls working 14 hours a day on Howl's Moving Castle during the last 6 months of production, noting that there were no Sundays nor time off during the week. However, after Miyazaki's film was complete, the supervising animator received 3 months of paid leave. I realized that I could only do this because I was in my 30s in those days, Yamashita says. I wouldn't be able to do that now at all. Based on Diana Wynne Jones' 1986 fantasy novel of the same name, Howl's Moving Castle follows a young milliner named Sophie, who is magically transformed into a 90-year-old woman by the Witch of the Waste. On a quest to break the curse, the elderly Sophie takes refuge in a moving castle owned by a charismatic wizard named Howl. In celebration of the 20th anniversary of Howl's Moving Castle, now playing in theaters until October 3 as part of Ghibli Fest, Yamashita spoke with Variety via an interpreter about his relationship with Miyazaki and bringing the animated fantasy film to life. How does the animation process for a Hayao Miyazaki film differ from other animated projects you've worked on? First of all, he is somebody who actually draws himself. From the layout to the storyboards, everything, he draws it himself. And let's say a key animator has drawn some animation. If he doesn't like it, then he will change it and draw a rough drawing. Then, the key animators and other animators have to bring that to the final stage. Another is the way he thinks about animation. Other animation directors use animation to tell a story, but he tells the story through the animation. It's all built into his storytelling. What was the character design process like for this film? In terms of Miyazaki's method of working, he has rough sketches of, this isn't necessarily used in the animation, but it's his overall image of what he thinks the story and the film should be. This includes the images of the characters, the costumes, the facial expressions, the hair. For example, Howl being a blonde man, those kinds of images he draws, and then the animators need to figure out how to animate those kinds of images. In terms of animating the characters, I draw many pages, like 20 pages for a character, and how that character should be expressed. For this one, we had a little time, so I spent a month or so drawing and getting my hand used to the kinds of character drawings that would be required for animating the film. Howl's Castle has such an intricate and detailed design. Could you describe the castle's animation process? How many people were involved? I'm not sure I can count. There were many people who worked on it. In terms of drawing such a large item like that castle, there would usually be a base design for it, and then various animators could draw from that base design. But in this case, there was no such initial base design. So there might be one scene where it was drawn one way and then another scene where the little house wasn't in the same place. But somehow, even with these angle changes that may show different things, it looked like one castle in the end. There may be different things stuck onto the castle, but as long as there's the mouth and the eyes and the chimneys, then people just perceive it as the same thing. So, we take advantage of that sort of misconception on the part of the audience to draw slightly different things.